Hey guys, it's Greg. In this video, I would like to show you into the Godsgrave, the latest game from Lucky Duck Games. It's a prototype. Components are not final. App is not final because the game uses app, obviously, as most of the Lucky Duck games, games from Lucky Ducks. What is into the Godsgrave? It's a story-driven, app-driven campaign game for 1 to 4 players. It's a co-op, and in the game we are going to have around 10 scenarios, 30 minis more or less, and 400 cards also more or less. So I'm going to just give you some highlights of what you can expect from the game that is going to be on a crowdfunding platform tomorrow on a Monday. So in this video I'm just going to show you this prototype scenario. I'm not going to show you all the scenario, just components and the flow of the game, how it works. So if you're interested in this game, just check out the rest of this video. Okay, so the game is set on the table. Now let me tell you what kind of components we have here. So here we have plan cards in the moment. Here we have boards of each player with portraits, with maybe I will show you right now. So during the creating of your characters, you're going to choose one of the, let's say, races. I don't remember the right name of this. You need to choose race, and that determines how many HP you are going to have health points, and what are your starting dice that are you going to use and roll. So those symbols represent 2 green dice and 1 red die. And in this prototype, we also got 2 classes, let's say. So it's Relictor and Infiltrator, so basically a mage, more or less, and something like Hunter. I know. So those are the boards. In here you have a space for your deck of cards, your discard pile, your hand left and right, and each character starts with this basic weapon. So you are always going to have at least this weapon in your hand, and on the bottom you have three slots for your abilities, and on the top slots for your items, and on the right hand side space for your resources. So this is your player board and a map built with those oversized hexes. So on each hex, maybe I will take one of these. On each hex we have obviously locations, and you're going to build a map using this. This is a prototype, so we have I think 9 tiles only. So just keep in mind that it's not final product. And what else? So those plans. Oh yeah, and we have dice, 3 colored dice. Each color represents different, let's say, different ability. I don't know how to explain it. So, for example, green dice are used when you are performing those something like agility tests, or where you have to perform cunning test, something like this. Green dice, red dice are obviously more about strength, and those blue dice I think represent something like influence, more or less. So yeah, we have the dice, you are using them to roll tests, and what results you can find on the dice. So those suns are always successes, and those symbols are only successes when you are performing the specific test. So for example, as I said, if you're going to perform cunning test, and cunning uses green dice, so each symbol on a green dice like this is treated as a success, and this one is not. And this, your starting hand of dice is those 3, maximum is 5, at least in this prototype. So we have player boards. Oh yeah, I can show you miniatures. So we have only few of them, but they are extremely detailed for a prototype, and I really love them. They look just amazing. So we have some kind of thug with a bow, an evil sorcerer, something like this, and another thug, but this time with a sword, something like work. Yeah, I mean, those minis are really, really good. I saw a lot of prototypes, and this one is I must say, quite jaw-dropping. And here are our heroes. So our infiltrator and relictor over here. So those two are used in this prototype. I can put them here. Right. And what else we have here? And deck of cards. Now, before I will explain you how the game works and flows and so on, I want to say more about this deck, because this is your main element of the game, your engine, because when you're going to create your character, you're going to build a deck. And in here you have information what kind of cards this specific character can use. So my elf is an infiltrator. So in my deck I only have infiltrator and elf cards. And the second deck we have relictor, and it should be somewhere here, human. Yeah, and I don't know how it's going to work in final product, because those two decks are prepared, and I just didn't have opportunity to build anything. I'm just using those as already created decks. So not what you can find in those decks. So we have three types of cards. We have obviously items that you can equip, you have abilities that you can use, and you have events item. And you can have events that you are going, they're like one time used, and they are discarded, but can be powerful. So what you can find on cards. First of all, this is a cost of resources that you have to pay to play the card and add it to your inventory or as an active ability. And in here you have information what kind of dice you can get when you discard this card from your hand when you're performing a test. So for example, again, let's go back to this cunning test. You are going to perform cunning test. You want to have a lot of green dice. So if you are going to discard this card with this with this green eye, you can add one extra green die to your pool. So that's that. Cost and ability and skills. So for example, this ability, you may reroll all your green dice once per test. I think very powerful. Here we have a bow, so it's ranged. Thanks to this you can attack adjacent locations, and it's invest 3, and this is connected with skill of infiltrator. So invest 3 in invest X. When you play this card, you may put up to 3 resource tokens from your resource pool onto this card. They are not discarded at the end of the round, because basically at the end of the round everything is discarded apart of one special type of token. I'm gonna explain it in a second. So here is a bow. Discard a token from this bow to attack with. And again, you're just assembling a dice pool, and how many successes you have. This is your damage. Of course, enemies can defend and so on, so it's not so easy. And another weapon. Here we have invest 2, so I already explained it to you. Discards resource from kin ear to perform an additional this green test. So very, very cool. I mean, those cards, my first impression was LCG game, and it's a very good impression. So I hope that we are going to have a lot of cards, and they are going to be unique, and we really can build those decks, because I love LCG games where you are just playing those cards and paying costs, and you can do those combos and so on and so on. So this is amazing. And so what should I tell you more? So you can have only 3 abilities, like this one. You can only have 3 abilities in a game. If you want more, or I mean, you cannot have more, but you can exchange and discard the previous one. Items, you can have only 2 in left and right. You can have 2 weapons in your hand, so left, right, but you have 3 slots on items, and this, so here are the hands, so these are going to be like here, and items like these, so it's an armor, so obviously you can wear only one armor. So if you're playing this one, and if maybe you'll find, hand. This is a trinket, so obviously you can play it. Also, basically you can have only one type of item on you. So let's say this is some kind of different armor. Obviously, I cannot have 2 armors because it's, I think, physically impossible. So you have to choose. But this is a bad example because we have 2 exactly the same cards. So this is your deck that you are going to use all the time, and discard your cards and play abilities and skills and so on. So those are our characters. Now, what else I should go show you now? Right, so maybe I will show you an app. So this is again a prototype, keep this in mind. If you played any kind of games from Lucky Ducks, you know that they are using those points of interest, so those tokens. No, this one. And those points of interest are here, bottomless goblets in, here's our caravan, and we are, I think, in here. My heroes, yes. So, this is a little bit like this game from Fantasy Flight Games, Journeys in Middle-earth, I think. So every time when you explore, when you enter this gray tile, you can perform explore, yes, and now you can decide to scout this tile, and you need to perform this test. If you passed, you are going to get some bonuses, and you're taking this token. You're taking this token, and you add it to your pool. And I will explain it in a second why those tokens are very useful. And another tiles are added, no more tokens are added, and so on and so on. So here is like nothing new, but in the end, it works well. So I don't think it's necessary to upgrade everything all the time. And so yeah. This was some action that you could perform. Here we have our caravan, and so in this prototype the goal is to move your caravan from the city out of the woods. And here what we can have here, so this is our caravan, here is our bottomless goblet inn, so you can enter it. And oh yeah, I already used it. So here should be 2 more options, but for example, try the local specialties. You can pay 6 for this. Take the well-fed cards and put it in your hand. So the way to get more cards that are not from your class and your race. But maybe I will show you more options in this Wounded Man. So if you are going to interact with him, some text obviously, and a lot of options for you to choose and perform. Ask what happened, for example, he says something, pay 3 resources, he moved. I mean, it's a little bit of a Destinies, but it's co-op and it's with a deck building game without QR codes. I really like it. So these are the components, and now I will tell you more about the flow of the game, because I think that is for now enough to have a feeling how this works. So the flow of the game starts with players choosing those plans that I mentioned at the beginning. We have 7 of them, and each of these plans adds some kind of bonus for all players. So for example, this one, gather information, you may pay 1 resource to draw card this round, 1 resource, 1 card, up to 3 cards. And on this right hand side we have icons that represents what kind of resources you are going to get when each player gets those resources when this plan is played. So in this example, you are going to get 8 resources, 1 card to your hand, and 2 tokens, basically 2 movement. You can go from one space to another, adjacent spaces, to 2 movement points. And as you can see, those numbers can vary quite drastically. And yeah, so this is the main way to get cards. I think in this prototype, this is your main way to get cards to your hand, and this is your main source of resources that you're going to spend and play your cards. So that's why those plans are very important, because maybe in some situation you want to have, for example, more movement. Here is 4, but maybe here is 5, 3, 3, So the five was the biggest number, I think. So let's check this one. Yes, so you're going to have 5 movement points, but only 1 card and 5 resources. In each green scouting test, you may swap any die for green this turn. So useful when you are going to scout and explore new tiles. So this is the first step. You're going to choose a plan, and each character is going to get those tokens and cards. And then is a round of the player. So when this game doesn't have turns, let's say, you can perform one player can perform one action, and then another one can perform one action, and you can go back to the first one. I mean, there are no rules. There's only one rule, that you have those 2 I'm gonna say it test tokens. You are starting with 2 of them, and this is you need to spend those tokens to perform tests. So basically, in one round of the game, you can perform only 2 tests, but as I said, you can get those tokens from the board that was here when I was exploring this tile. So you are going to get those tokens for example, exploring those tiles. And when you have 2 of them, you can spend them as one blue test token. So the more active you are in your turn, there's a possibility that you will have more tokens, and you can perform more actions. You can just do more in your turn. And here we have tokens of those resources, obviously nothing new, and tokens that are used as those points of interest. So I think that's it. I mean, you are just spending your tokens, you're performing tests, you're rolling dice, you're playing your cards however you want, to spending resources to use the skill, or you're discarding cards to get extra die during test. And after players, there is a end phase, for example. Let's do end phase, yes. So now there's an adventure phase, enemy actions, resolve, movement, or attack for each enemy group according to their description. If there are no active enemies, move to the next step. Again, I must say this is a prototype, so keep this in mind. So we have one bandit. I should put him somewhere. Let's say here. So we have this one bandit, and when you click on him, you have information how he is going to act. So enemy attacks the nearest hero in the range. Player chooses in case of a tie. Otherwise, they move towards the caravan by the shortest route, and they are moving by 1. In here, you have information how they are attack. Ranged. After bandit scout deals you any damage, roll any die. If you roll blank, discard random card from your hand. So not cool. And no, sorry, I said 1. This is his movement point, so he's moving by 3, not by 1. This is his armor. So when you're inflicting a damage, this is how much you must subtract, in this case 0, and this is his attack value, so always 3. And I mean, and back. So there are also 2 statuses in this prototype that you can add to them. It's like stun; they are not going to perform any actions. And second one, I don't remember what was it. I think disarm or something like this. And after enemies, maybe I will finish I will click to the end of the app. So after the enemies, have all enemies perform their actions, yes. Adventure phase, caravan movement. The caravan can only continue moving when it moves to the area on the same tile or the next tile is explored. There are no enemies. So yeah, this is the situation. So we can move our caravan by 1. And yeah, event. At the end, we have some events. This is very cool because the app remembers those events. So they are not like one round. When something happens, like for example, you have a downpour or a storm, something like this, and then they last few rounds. App remembers that, and these effects are in every upcoming round. So continue. And the wounded man somehow managed to go to the city. Remove. What? Scenario goals. So basically, you need to finish the game in 7 rounds. If it's 8 rounds, you lose the game. So, unfortunately, I lost the game. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, as I said, this is a prototype, so not everything is working. We don't have even possibility to click to click for options. So after this, what I showed you, after the full round, we're going back to this phase when you are just choosing one of your plans, and again get skills, get tokens and perform actions. And this is it. This is into the Godsgrave. So I think this is a very interesting game because it streamlines a lot of mechanics that we know on the market, especially that the game uses up. It's, I think, cool because my biggest problem with adventure games, especially with those complex one, is I have to manage everything on the table, and that's quite exhausting. So when I have an app and it works perfectly, I am happy and I am into this game. So that's it. The game is going to be on crowdfunding platform soon. On Monday, tomorrow, or depends when you're watching this video. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and see you on the next one.